Hey there. So this is was my sixth session with my Turner syndrome student. She's just so great to work with and she tries so hard, but there are a lot of gaps for this little gal. At the age of 10, she's still functioning at mostly like a 6-year-old in most areas. Now she has learned to read, but many skills are that of like a kindergartner really. Initially, I had noted weakness in spatial concepts, which would be visual processing, sequencing skills, auditory issues, as well as probable working memory. And I would concur that all of those have definitely proven to be areas of weakness for her. In addition to those weaknesses, I've also noticed a weakness now in her logic skills, problem solving, and in her pattern recognition. And these are all important things that are often not considered when checking a child. And when we had done the assessment, I hadn't been able to complete it. It took us much longer to get through the assessment than typically it would, so I had not completed it. The other thing I haven't checked as I'm looking back here is I actually haven't even checked her reading and spelling levels yet. So I'll need to do that. It's a little late to do that after 6 sessions, but we haven't made that much progress really that I'm concerned about it. So I'll remember to do that next time. She has done well at working towards building that digit span, but the working memory has been very difficult. So that's been interesting. We haven't really made any progress on that yet. If it's a short set, she can remember 5 simple things, but as those things become more complex, she can only remember 2 or 3. She's still having a hard time sequencing even 4 items. The same is true. So like sequencing 3 is getting pretty good actually. So that is an area that she's improved in. So she can sequence 3 items now pretty readily. She also, I noticed today when I checked her pattern recognition, she actually can recognize a pattern of 3, a repeating pattern of 3, whereas she can't recognize 4 or 5. Sometimes she can actually do it, but she doesn't really understand why or how to explain it. Well, much less how to explain it, right? I mean, sometimes they can do it just because they see what appears to be right. That visual skill is strong enough for them to recognize a pattern and kind of have a sense about it, but they don't know why. She kept asking me today, well, how come there aren't more blocks? I'm like, you don't need any more because the pattern is complete. But that didn't make really any sense to her. So that seems like a logic and problem-solving weakness to me. Also, in doing a diagonal, she's beginning to recognize it, but still can't problem solve for what to do when you run out of space at the other end of the diagonal. Surprisingly, she's doing okay on some of the spatial skills, which are typically is a weak area for kids with Turner syndrome. So that's kind of interesting that she's not struggling with that as much as I thought she would, but the visual sequential is definitely weak. And again, Mayo Clinic says that typically learning problems involve spatial concepts for these kids. I would say personally, what I'm seeing with this particular Turner syndrome is that it's worse than the spatial concepts is the sequential concepts. But we'll see. But that's what I'm seeing right now. So she's doing surprisingly well on some of the more spatial exercises that we do. So anyway, again, it's a joy working with her. And if there's anything that you want me to elaborate more on, like if you want me to explain how I'm doing the sequential exercise or how I'm, screening for that, how I'm screening for working memory, if you want me to show you some of the tools I'm using for pattern recognition, just, maybe drop me a comment. Let me know what would be helpful for you. And as I go forward, I'll try to show some of those, especially for the student with Turner syndrome. Okay. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in a week or so.